Now, the ousted Nairobi County Assembly Majority Leader, that's Abdi Guyo, alleges that Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko is the city's top cartel who has been plundering public resources and pretending to be clean. Now, the Embattled Matopeni MCA states that the evidence he has to the effect and that he will be forwarding this particular evidence to the DCI and the EACC to prove his particular allegations that the governor is a beneficiary of bribes in the capital city's private developers, or rather from them. Chris Thyro with that report.
For the past few months now, Nairobi City County Assembly has been synonymous with violence as rival camps, one led by Speaker Beatrice Elachi and the other led by Matopeni and Spring Valley Ward Representative Abdi Guyo, exchange blows. Since the return of Speaker Elachi, no substantive business has been handled in the County Assembly, and the result was the overhaul change of the county leadership that saw the oust of Majority Leader Abdi Guyo, who was replaced by Majority Chief Whip Charles Thuo. And while appearing before the Senate Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations Committee, Guyo pointed an accusing finger to the Governor Mike Sonko of the who's bedeviling the county.
When your head has a problem, automatically the body has a problem. The problem in this institution of Nairobi County is the governor himself. I know many people fear Governor Sonko. They can't dare him, but we are ready to do that on behalf of Nairobians.
According to Guyo, Governor Sonko has been orchestrating divisions and using hired goons to intimidate members of the county assembly to avoid oversight.
We go to liquor board. It is collecting more than 350 million per month. How much? 350 million. This liquor board, from chair to the constituency level, all of them are goons. All of them. Even the chair was arrested that time when the governor was at EACC. He's called Kennedy Odhiambo. He's called Kennedy Odhiambo. He's the chairman of liquor.
Guyo revealed that billions of shillings are being siphoned to the people's pockets, citing that although the county has the capacity to increase revenue collection, it has backtracked from 11.5 billion shillings to now 7.8 billion shillings under Sonko's reign.
There is a lot of misuse of resources of Nairobi. I want to give you an example of cashew. We cannot have cashew day in, day out across the year. When you employ a cashier, you employ a cashier for specific reason and specific period. But in Nairobi County, we have more than 6,000 cashiers whom we don't know. Most of them are ghosts being paid taxpayers' money day in, day out for whole year.
Governor Sonko, who has visited EACC offices at Integrity Center and interrogated on various issues, could not be reached for a comment. Chris Thyro, KTN News.
All right, so that is what Nairobi County government is facing. On one side, we have members of County Assembly who for 1 month or so have been involved in, the intrigues of power play. On the other side, we have the governor, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, who seems to be, to have a new, like this trouble brewing at the EACC. I don't know how exactly to put it, but the latest series of questioning coming in the backdrop of how exactly he got clearance to vie in the 2017 general election in terms of falsifying documents. Kipchumba Karori, let's start with you. An impending problem in Nairobi County government. The EACC following the governor, we have Nairobi County Speaker Beatrice Elachi, who's faced problems at hand from people who are actually trying to push down her role as a speaker of the county assembly. What do you make of all this, including the fact that Nairobi County Assembly members have been engaged in fistfights, quote unquote, yet there's an honorable tag that comes with being elected?
First of all, Jesse, when we discuss cartels, we discuss mafias, and we discuss Gestapo or Gestapo kind of leaders, I think Nairobi County and Sonko fall within that presence of when we discuss the word. The other point that we have to make and we must pass, whatever is happening in Nairobi is a failure, has three things that we must take home as Kenyans. One, Nairobians or a Nairobi voter should not be remorseful to anybody. When you see one who is remorseful, they should be arrested. Because you elect Sonko, who is political career, and the biggest street credibility comes with is throwing tantrums. The biggest thing that he can do to help us as a people is to punch the walls and do other things. You have to ask yourself, all these political accidents, how have they occurred? And how comes people can be unlucky 3-4 times? It is not that they're unlucky. They are authors of their own misfortunes. So anybody who voted in Nairobi and voted for Mike Sonko is part of the problem. That is the first place. So the voters of Nairobi are part of the problem. And it doesn't matter whether it is the Tibim Bana or the Kumira, they are the problem. The second part of this problem where the Nairobi leadership is in is the Senate. And at times I, although painfully agree with the people who say that house should be scrapped from our constitution. Because how do we have a Senate that sits every day, every week, every month, but they have allowed a governor to run rogue? And in the Constitution, when you read from Article 94 all the way to 97, the Senate is supposed to act as the guardian angel of devolution. Are they doing their mandate? They have failed us. Two, the third person who has failed this whole thing is Jubilee. Jubilee, Sonko is an elected leader in Jubilee. Jubilee as a party owes Kenyans an explanation why the person they gave us to elect as governor is behaving like a man in Dandora, in those dustbins in Dandora. The man is behaving as if he's high on something. We need to ask ourselves, do political parties have decency? If they have any, they need to rein in on these people. The fourth arm that has failed us as a people is our institutions. When Sonko leaks pictures of people in their private life, when Sonko leaks conversations that are not held in offices where we as Kenyans expect them to be, you know, when people are in a bar, of course, everybody is human. Everybody will get down on the guard and speak their issues. But as a leader, we hold you. There is even the privileges and secrecy, the oath of secrecy. You mean Sonko has bypassed all those, and we have the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, we have DCI, we have Parliament, we have Senate, we have all manner of institutions who can call Sonko and tell him, you either behave or you ship out. Because at the end of the day, Sonko is a cancer in our body politic and in our country. We cannot be describing the biggest city in this part of sub-Saharan Africa, and we have Sonko at the center. A governor who has no problem with hurling all the unprintables in any person. Look at now what is happening. And it is unfortunate that he's trying to use the guerrilla and scout at policies on EACC. When they backfire finally, Sonko will go home a very disgruntled man. Whatever this strategy of trying to pull down the house so that you are using all manner of theatrics to burn down the house so that you are not held responsible, will not count at the end of the day. And what we need to ask ourselves, and my plea to President Uhuru Kenyatta, the party leader of Jubilee, and his deputy, who is also the deputy party leader, kindly rein in on some of these hoodlums who have made politics. You know, the health of our politics is at ICU, because we have leaders who are not making anything better. Look at how the Speaker of the Nairobi Assembly is behaving. She is not, when we say we want women in politics, we do not want women who act like the men in the same politics. We want women who are a breath of fresh air. When Alleges starts talking, actually you see the face of war directly. We need Nairobians to have service delivery. And just don't get confused. These people who are battling here, how they steal from Kenyans is by bringing all manner of these confusions. Don't think these confusions are just normal confusions. These are authored confusions for them to loot from us.
Right.
When you walk everywhere, you see garbage, you see the traffic, all the sewer lines are blocked. There is all manner of problems. But when you go back, the budget is still running. Who eats the budget and they are quarreling? It means that when it comes to eating, there is peace. But when it comes to trying to play games, they disagree. So what we need to do, EACC should move with speed, do whatever they have to do, bring sanity to this place, because whatever is happening goes to the root of what we call ethics. And chapter 6, does whatever Sonko does bring honor to the office of the governor? No. And if it is no, take the man to court without hesitation. Some of us will come there and we will deal with it at that level.
All right. So the confusion, let me call it that, might be a smokescreen. So let's address the issue at hand. We have a governor who is being investigated or questioned by the EACC on claims of falsifying documents that are crucial to vying for the position he holds right now. Let's look at the bigger picture, as he's mentioned it right now. EACC following on such a claim, does that point fingers into the whole process of actually clearing individuals to vie for party positions, and also the ethics part that, you know, the leaders we choose are actually, well, you know, cling to our hips for the next 5 years?
I think I'll pick from what Karori was talking about, that our political parties should also be held to account, because before you clear a person to run on your ticket, you need to do a background check. The other people that I should also be blamed in this is the various agencies that are required to do also a background check, that is the DCI, EACC, the NIS, and IBC. Because when now we are being told that EACC is following on how the governor gave fake claims in his declaration form, I think there was a process. What I know is that when you're doing the declaration form, you fill it yourself. And IBC has always said that we lack capacity to go through all these documents within the time period that we get all the candidates. But still, that does not absolve them from any blame. And that is why we see that after our leaders are elected, then we see that they don't honor the offices that they are called to serve in. And that is where now we find ourselves in what we are seeing in Nairobi County. And Sonko is not the first MP that we are seeing. We've seen Kenyans elect leaders who are always obsessed with the drama, are always pulling strings and all that. But now when it comes to the office of a governor, it is not a political office. And that is why, if you remember the pioneer governors, they were elected, they were mostly CEOs, because we expected that these were going to be chief officers who are going to discharge duties for Kenyans and not mix it with politics. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where we find that we have a governor who is now torn between playing the normal politics and running a government that he also wants to run as a politician. And that is why we see he's recording his officers, he's putting CCTV cameras everywhere, he goes to the field and he wants to record everything, sneaking into institutions at night and recording so that people can get to know what is happening. But all this said and done, what we are seeing is Nairobi is a bigger picture where there is leadership wrangles of everybody trying to protect their turf. Karori has talked about cartels and all that. All the fights we always see is about protecting your turf and trying to block what you have been doing. The governor was first invited by EACC on claims of corruption involving a tender of garbage. And that was amounting to around 357 million, which they say the governor received a kickback of over 20 million. That was the genesis of all this that we are seeing. But before that, remember, this is the first county that we saw the deputy governor resign immediately, not even serving with the governor for 1 year. So that was already a ticking bomb that things were not going to be rosy for this kind of governor. And he has stayed during that time up to now without appointing a deputy governor, even in spite of the Supreme Court giving an advisory that governors can appoint their deputies. He declined. And I remember the Senate summoned him. Instead, he ended up being the one lecturing the senators and telling them about the law and the process. And he told them the moment they put in place an act of parliament setting down the procedures to appoint a deputy governor, he will follow that. But without that, he will not do that. We are seeing this is the only county that we've had a speaker being ousted from office for over 1 year, serving the county running without a speaker. Now, when the speaker came back, we are now seeing all these fights. And all these fights boil down to the County Assembly Public Service Board, where the money is. All this you can see, it's about the cartels, it's about the kickbacks, and it's about the backstabbing. So it has nothing to do with service delivery for the Nairobians. So me, I think just what Karori has said, we appeal to the president and the deputy president, because these are the party leaders of Jubilee, to rein in, because at the end of the day, if the county government collapse, it will collapse on the ruling party. Yes.
You know, we are keen to chase Commander away, but we're okay with Sonko. This is the irony of this country. But Nairobians voted a pig into their living room, and now we are complaining that it got muddy. The truth of the matter is it was always going to get muddy. When we appointed the self-proclaimed prison prefect, we fully expected that his prison tendencies will continue. And let me explain to you what I mean. Sonko, it seems, allegedly, so that I'm not sued, it seems his method of fighting corruption was that he should be the only corrupt one. So it seems. That is his plan. That anyone else should not be other than him. On top of that, Sonko is obsessed with drama. He is obsessed like he lives in a soap opera. He moves us from his house where he is on Christmas Day, he's showing us his opulence. Then he goes to France and then it's party after party. Then he comes back, there is drama. He caused traffic for an entire day. We couldn't make it to our meetings, drama. He now wants to sink the building which EACC sits because he suddenly discovered after he has a case to answer that it is on riparian land. Sonko is a joke. Let's be serious. It's a joke. And the problem with us is that there are people who voted for him, there's a party that approved him, and there's an IEBC that says it had no measures to check. Seriously, Sonko? He walks in and you know it's a problem. Surely. Do you need to look at his hair? Look at how he dresses.
Okay.
There is no, listen.
Let's not attack.
No, it's not a personal attack. I'm a communication strategist. I'll tell you how people dress and how they carry themselves tells you about their character. It is not a lie. So there's a problem there. But to be safe, allegedly, my opinion, right? This country needs to be very careful. I have a serious problem with Sonko, not just as an individual, but the number of politicians who are going to follow after his vein. If we allow Sonkoism to continue in this country, we are not only giving a free pass to corruption, but we're also giving a free pass to young leaders who will think being like Sonko is the only way to rise to power. And I'll give you an example. There's another fellow in ODM who shows up 2 hours after Dusit is silent with a gun bigger than the terrorist SAD. Right? Because he's emulating Sonko. And that's the danger. And we need to protect this country. I'll tell you this. The other big danger that portends for this country is that those who fight against corruption are now being fought against unfairly. That now Sonko and his ilk will go edit videos, release fake footage, just to ensure they are not arrested. Let me tell you something. When you are taken to court, it is not the policeman who is in the dock. It is you. The fact that Sonko is trying to throw mud at other people does not absolve him in any way in the terms of corruption that he's being alleged to have done. So he needs to do us a favor. By the way, where you were in France, you should have stayed there.
All right.
Otherwise, EACC should give you state accommodation.
All right.
In a police cell.
Okay. Emotive sentiments right there. And we appreciate the weight that it bears when the capital, Nairobi, and the leadership is in question. Dismas, allow me to take a short break. I'll definitely come back and review what you have to say in terms of the wrangles at City Hall and the impending, I don't know if I could say this, lacuna in the leadership. Okay, let's just take a short break. We'll come back with the sentiments from the Duke, as well as your call, just highlighting what you can say about this particular talking points that we were fronting in terms of the political